Hello and welcome to Capricorn Makes. I'm Stacy and today I'm going to be talking about spinning. The reason why I have been doing so much spinning, if you have seen on my Instagram, I'm just posting scads and scads and scads of photos of skeins that I finished, is because there is a local wool festival that is going on at the end of the month and I have a lot of wool. I've been spinning for about 10 years and a great deal of what I have been spinning through is stuff that I bought really early on in my spinning career, and a lot of it is really fabulous, but I have just I have grown and changed in my tastes, in my experience, in my capability, and I really have been trying to spin through the stash before I buy more, because that's quite sensible. What probably isn't too sensible is the fact that, see these bins behind me? These are, it's fabric. There's, how many are there? There's 7 high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait, 2, 4, 6, 7. So yeah, there's 14 of these boxes here, and those are like long ways. So you're seeing the narrow end. There's several more in the closet. These boxes here, and these bags are fleeces. I have 14 fleeces of different breeds of sheep and several alpaca fleeces. I've got more fleece up here, and well, you can't see it, there's a painting in the way down there. I've got some more. I just have stuff everywhere. I have a whole box of fleece of locks that I'm looking forward to going through and kind of seeing what might be interesting to make doll wigs out of, because I've got it, why not use it? But yeah, so I have some wish lists for this festival that's coming up at the end, but in the meantime I've been trying to spin up all my bits and bobs, trying to figure out if there's anything I need to buy additional wool for particular projects to pad anything out, and so I've been spinning. So these are two really similarly colored, yet not nearly as similarly colored as I thought. When they were in the braids before I had spun them, they looked almost exactly the same. And as you can see, this is not going to focus, but just color-wise, you can see how different these are. This one is quite pink and is quite a warm, sort of medium color palette. And this is very, very pale. It's a sort of sage and sand and blue, and it's very cool. And this one's very warm. I had toyed with spinning them both together. It would have been a really cohesive yarn because these are very complementary colors, but I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't, because I actually really like their variation. I like the fact that they're different, but similar enough that I could still use them in the same project. Another thing that I've been working on is for a class that I did, we had access to carders, like carding machines that could take all sorts of different kinds of wool and spit out bats. This is not a huge bat, but it's like, this is the standard, put those down. This is the standard size of bat that you would get off of a machine. Well, I made up all of these little mini test bats because we were playing with art yarns and things like that. But I'm like, you know what, I brought all this stuff with me to try out and I don't want to take it home without, you know, having access to this machine. And so I just stood there and made a whole bunch of bats. And and then they've just been sitting in a bag, because of course they have. And so I spun all of them up into these little mini skeins, which are perfectly sized for doll projects. So these were leftovers from those other 2 skeins that I just showed you, the big ones. Now these are all fairly similarly colored, but they are quite different. These were, I'm pretty sure, all from the same dyer for the most part, just with different things that I've done to them. This is, like, these are all using some of the same fiber from one person, and this is a different fiber from the same dyer. She uses, or at the time she used, a fairly rare type of or an uncommon type of dye, and so her colors were really, really distinctive for the time that she was dyeing. at the time. This one, now it's not going to focus, but it doesn't matter. This is really tweedy. You can see all the little bumps and little blips of color in here. I love that. I absolutely love that this came out this way. I was really hoping it would do this, but it's even better than I thought I would. And the texture in this, when I knit it up, is going to be so good. I have some purples that they're actually much more variegated than they look on camera. They actually look really vibrant on camera. This one is fairly solid, and this one actually has like blues and greens mixed in with it. It really doesn't look like it, but so like this is one of the smallest skeins I ended up with. This is probably enough for a small hat or leg warmers, and I mean, like, there's a couple of meters here. Like for small items, this is plenty. And I did spin it in such a way that it would be fairly chunky, because that's what I wanted. Like, I can spin more finely for doll projects, but you know, when you get like a skein like this, I'm not entirely sure, but I suspect that this is plenty of fiber for at least a cardigan for an MSD, if not an actual full sweater for an SD. Not positive, because this might be a little thick for that, but I have lots of options here. And the last two, this one doesn't look, oh yes, it looks, I tried to film this earlier and the lighting was just terrible. In the middle of the video, I had, my window is right behind the camera there, and right in the middle of my video, the sun crested around the side of the house, and so it was like, blind, I'm blind, oh my god. So, and then I had some audio problems, so I'm just like, toss it, just start over again. But anyway, so this is actually a much better color now than it was when the sun was trying to come through the window. Like, it looked really muddy before, but it is actually really citrusy and bright and friendly and happy, and I'm really glad that it's showing up because it is such a fun color. It's like bright lemon yellow and like bright lime green, and then it has little shots of like pink all through it, like sort of grapefruit pink, like all the way through it, and it's so ugly and I love it so much. And then this was the last little one, which is this, it looks really gray on camera, but up close I don't, like, again, it's not going to focus because my camera does not focus. We can't expect it to focus, but I mean, you can kind of see a little bit better the variations in color in here. This is like a tiny unicorn princess wet dream, and like, I'm really looking forward to knitting this up for Blythe sweaters, or there's plenty here for a hat or an MSD. I'm looking forward to using these because they're so fun. They're in such small quantities. And yeah, you know, I end up with a lot of leftovers like this accidentally. So I'm just like, I have some leftover from a project or whatever. So it's nice to, or it's fun to be able to purposefully make a whole bunch of these. And I may actually get some fibers to do that with, to actually make up specifically for doll projects while I'm at the Wool Festival. One of the things that I found in my stash that I wanted to share with you guys. Okay, so when I showed this before, what you probably didn't realize about it, because it does not show up well on film, is that this is incredibly sparkly. There are a couple of different types of sparkle fibers. Firestar is one of them. Angelina can be sparkly. There's different kinds of nylon. There's all sorts of different things. But this is actually filled with sparkle, and you just can't see it very well. This one, on the other hand, is like... Now, unfortunately, this is not showing up as well as it did in the sunlight, because when the sun was coming through the window, even though... there it is. This is just full of fire. It is full of sparkle. I mean, the whole thing, like, you can really only see it in certain areas, but this whole thing glitters like... it's like looking at a well-decked out Christmas house in the middle of winter. Like, with it just glitters and sparkles and glows, and it's really cool. I actually think my mother bought this for me for a Christmas present, and at the time I'm like, what am I going to do with this? Because sparkly things are often very, very scratchy. And oh, I just had an idea. I bet I can get some light to shine on this. Ooh, it's gonna be bright. Oh yeah, look at that. There we go. Yes, you can really see this thing is like insanely glittery. Oh, I wonder if the other one will show up too if I've got the light directly on it. No, it's just, oh, there you can see a little bit of the sparkle. These are actually equally as sparkly. It is just that this one contrasts so much with the darker fabric, as this matches. But yeah, I have no idea what I'm gonna do with this, but I'm not entirely sure what this particular shiny fiber is, but it's not scratchy. This is some of the softest fiber I have ever felt in a bat. And I'm pretty sure it's just merino and whatever the sparkle is, but I'm so happy that it's not sparkly not scratchy, because I'm gonna make a neck warmer because I can. I had some other, oh yeah, this was one of the other ones I finished recently, which is that luxury blend. Did I show this last time? I can't remember, but I'm showing it again. It's purple. It's very fun. It's gonna be really lovely to knit up. Let me see. Oh yes. And other crafting news, I got some paper clay. And I got some styrofoam balls, and I decided to give the sculpting brouhaha a try because it seemed really fun. So I have not worked with clay in like 20 years, and it was like building pots in, high school, that kind of thing. So I haven't really done anything like this at all. And my goal for this original little attempt was to imperfectly put things on there, purposefully not thick enough, and purposefully blotchy, and purposefully thin and fine in some areas, just to test how strong this particular paper clay actually is. Like, I am aware that people say that it's really fragile, it is prone to breaking. I just needed to see, and I needed to see how the clay was going to work, so I didn't have any tools or anything, and I was literally just sitting there watching YouTube videos and playing with this for, half hour or 40 minutes or something like that. So my goal was to just have something dry that I could, or too dry, that was a framework that I could put then wet clay over it to test it. This was just supposed to be a test. And from how I'm talking, you can tell that it may not just be a test. So I made this little face, and I love it. It is so charming. Like, it is rough, it is not finished, it is not at all, there's not eye holes, the ears are just sort of suggestions, but it is so, like, I was not expecting to really fall in love with this little silly sculpt. Like, it's got like an imperfect nose, and nothing is balanced at all, and like there are but I love it. I love it. Oh gosh, I've got some fiber here. Let me put this fiber on so that you guys can see just how freaking fun I find it, because I was digging through my my wool. Sorry, I was digging through my wool to see if I had anything that might be suitable for wigs, because I thought that would be kind of fun, and I didn't want to get any duplicates at the festival if I found some, but yeah, you guys, I love this little face. I was trying to make a rounder, mature face that was, had stronger features, a round chin. And I realized that the connector down here is wrong. I literally was just holding it. But yeah, I mean, I just can't get over how much personality this little head has. And I have to say, when I was taking photos of it, I was just absolutely thrilled watching the camera track its face perfectly. It didn't lose track of it. It was like, yep, that's the face, that's the face, that's the face. And I'm like, yeah, it is a face. And it is so much fun. I am absolutely hooked on how neat this is, and I am really looking forward to learning how to do this properly so that I can make these be real. I mean, they are real. I mean, it's real. It's a real object. I have not imagined this thing, but you know what I mean. It's like I want to make it usable. I would like to. I mean, I have images in my head, and there are just no dolls out there that meet the criteria that I have in my head for what I want in a sculpt. And yes, I'm new to the hobby, and yes, I don't have any dolls here, but I also, you know, really, really want things that aren't out there, and I can make some, and that's going to be really, really great. You know, it dawned on me that it does look a little bit, it reminds me, some of it reminds me of like the, is it Orange Tea dolls? That kind of, you know, the wide face, round, I mean, it's not flat like those are, or nearly as stylized, not nearly as stylized. And the profile is, a little bit reminiscent of some of the Mary Doll round things, but honestly, it's because they've got different shapes. Like, you can easily point to those sculpts and go, yeah, it's really similar to that. But really, I think it's less similar to those things than it is just different in the same sort of way that those sculpts are different. And that makes me so excited. That is what I've been really loving about getting into this hobby and finding all of these things out, is just that urge to learn, that urge to do more. And I really hope that you have something in your own hobby that is inspiring you to that level. Thank you for joining me today, and I will see you in the next one.